To fight against this virus, we need everything and everybody on our side. However, I've been astonished and appalled at political leaders, news organizations, and members of our legislature who seem to be siding with the virus. My patience with these people is at an end. The university shouldn't let such people dictate policy for us. That includes state legislators like Jake Corman and Kerry Benninghoff. Students who voted for Trump in spite of his ineptitude, bigotry, and constant falsehood. With rare exceptions, they do not live here, study here, or teach here. Last week, the COG sent a letter, very similar to mine, to President Barron on this issue. Here's a quote from his reply. Your letter treated students as if they are not vital members of our community, but unwanted visitors. Students are incredibly important to our community and should be treated as such. I agree with this statement, but I want you to know that the borough's letter started with the students, and the COG's letter started with the borough's letter. This started with the students, and my letter was a reflection of the good judgment of the students and faculty of this university. Okay. My 40-plus years at this university have shown me that administrators seldom change their minds. I think some of you read that by now. I beseech President Barron to have the wisdom to change his mind this time. Thank you.
We want to emphasize that we are Penn State. We are not a political state. We are not a police state. We are not a police state. We are Penn State. So hopefully the police will take heed to that and do as requested. Okay. Next speaker is Emma Ida, and I'm sure I'm going to butcher Emma's name. So why don't you just come on, Emma, before I butcher your name.
Hello, and thank you for the Coalition for a Just University for allowing me to share my point of view as a college student living through a global pandemic at Penn State. My name is Emma Sahanowiz, and I'm a third year in the Liberal Arts College studying international politics, Spanish, and French. Last semester, I utilized the vaccine clinic at the BJC. Last semester, I utilized the vaccine clinic at the BJC to get vaccinated in order to protect myself and my loved ones from COVID-19. I thought my vaccination was the beginning of the light at the end of the tunnel. Though I'm returning to campus in person this fall, fully vaccinated, some of my classmates have not made the same decision as I have to help stop the spread. I fully support a vaccine mandate for Penn State. Without a mandate, my education and my health of myself, my peers, and our beloved faculty are in jeopardy. In the first couple of days back on campus, we've already seen locations on campus, such as the IM buildings, struggling to enforce mask mandates. I recently was at a gym on campus, and over half the students were not properly wearing masks. And rec facilities have made the decision to no longer enforce this mandate. Nice. The recklessness and ignorance of the pandemic will inevitably result on the spread of COVID-19 on our campus. If the administration truly had Penn State's best interest at heart, Barron and the Board of Trustees would have listened to the Faculty Senate and the UPUA, who are the voices on the ground of this faculty and student interests. A vaccine mandate is not only ethical, but the only way Penn State can provide myself and my fellow students the education we are paying for and the safety we deserve. Our administration should be more afraid and concerned for their students and faculty health than they are of retaliation. Also share a letter from a student from Penn State Harrisburg. His name is Kobe Kantz. He's a Penn State Harrisburg student, so he could not be here today. And I just want to emphasize that we're more than just University Park. This is affecting all our Commonwealth campuses, so their voices should be here too. This is a letter from Kobe Kantz. Addressed to the Board of Trustees and the President of Pennsylvania State University. Just because parts of this country have made a tremendous progress against this virus does not mean it's over, not by a long shot. In fact, we appear to somehow be worse off than we were just a few months ago. Many of us have sacrificed a great deal during this pandemic in the name of protecting our loved ones and ourselves. It appears a concerning amount have either lost their appetite to continue that sacrifice or never even had it in the first place. The ignorance of that group would not be given the power to make the sacrifice others have made for nearly a half to be in vain. What may be just statistics to many are just names and faces to others. I understand the hesitancy many have to take the vaccine. I honestly do, because I have my own concerns when I rolled up my sleeves in March, but I did my part. I did my part along with the majority of my fellow Penn Staters and Americans to put a permanent end to this pandemic. A majority of the American people support vaccine mandates being implemented. Last I checked, that is how our country makes decisions. It is how we elect officials, it's in how we enact policies. When a majority of our people support a vaccine mandate, that should serve as a mandate to positions of power to represent our interest accordingly. However, it appears that a major hurdle to enact such a mandate is over fears of what members of the state legislature may do in retaliation. People in Harrisburg playing games with human lives to try to score political points. And Penn State is just going to bow down to these ignorant people? Why? Because those funds are more important than a student's life or a member of their family? That is the message you send when you choose to placate these corrupt politicians' agendas. Turning a blind eye and refusing to do what is right to keep the cash flowing? I seem to remember the last time that decision was made here at Penn State. When the consequences of that failure to act finally came to bear a decade ago, it turned this university into one of the most reviled institutions in America. I would hope for our sake that this group of university officials can have the fortitude to do what's right this time around. Thank you.
All right, I want to also call it out now. Well, let's first do a chant, because let's get back into it. Yeah. When I say Penn State, you say vaccinate. Penn State, we are Penn State. Wait, that was bad. Penn State. Vaccinate. Penn State. Vaccinate. Penn State. Vaccinate. What do we want? Vaccination. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Vaccine. What do we want it? Now. That's right. That is right. All right, and then we're going to do a chant, vax up or pack up, because they did mask up or pack up last year. Let's do it again. Vax up or pack up. Vax up or pack up. Vax up or pack up. All right. All right, now I'm going to call up Sam Ajwal, a at-large rep for UPUA, the undergraduate University Party Undergraduate Association. And just to clarify, he is talking, representing himself, not UPUA at large.
Howdy, folks. It's great to honestly see everyone come out here today in support of the vaccine mandate. Something that should have been done a long time ago. We're here today because the university, as always, has chosen to silence us. They've chosen to ignore us. They've chosen to look at everything we're telling them and completely disregard it. Whether that be the UPUA's vaccine resolution all the way back in the early spring, or the Faculty Senate's the early summer resolution. They ignored us and they failed to listen to us. And we're going to pay an ultimate price for that in human lives, not just monetary. They've chosen corporate interests. They've chosen to listen to Harrisburg Republicans and their wild and ludicrous culture wars, or whatever they're cooking up this week in the kitchen. And they've chosen to listen to their wealthy donors at our expense, at the expense of faculty members, at the expense of students, and at the expense of people not only in the State College area, but everybody in their respective communities across the Commonwealth. And that needs to end today.
Yeah.
Vaccines, specifically the Pfizer vaccine, have been fully FDA approved, so there should be no logical argument against them. Of course, this is a pandemic, we're all scared, but the technology for these vaccines have been decades in the making. We're all coming together now to make these wonderful vaccines because we've been working on the technology. It's not cyanide in the liquid form, it's not a saline solution that's gonna make you sick. There's nothing wrong with these vaccines. Last year, we had a disastrous COVID-19 response, and the administration had the audacity to call it a wonderful thing. Over 5,000 students contracted COVID, and they called that a success. If 50 students got out of 40,000 students, that would be a success. This was none of that, and they're still continuing to tout how well we're doing when we're not. Failure to listen to us, failure to instill rules that will actually work, failing to police these policies that are designed to make us safe, and only offering a shoddy explanation of what we're going to do weeks before school reopens is not only an example of an incompetent administration, it's a representation of an administration that quite frankly doesn't care about the people that make this school so great. Whether it be racist transgressions last year, or whether it be things like the Sandusky scandal, we've seen the university turn a blind eye to important things that affect us and our students. We matter, and they need to know that. Vaccinations should not be political. They never have, and they never should be. But now we're dealing with a ridiculous and ludicrous story about how vaccines are somehow here to get us, or there's something manufactured in China here to all ruin us, when that couldn't be farther from the truth. All they are ludicrous lies and conspiracy theories designed to divide us and put our public health and safety at risk. If Ohio State, our rival, can you believe that, can mandate vaccines in a state where Republicans have a trifecta over the state government, what's stopping us? The Republicans in Ohio have yet to retaliate against them. And we can also look to our school, look to Temple University all the way out in Philly, in the same state as us, who mandated vaccines without retaliation from the Harrisburg Republicans. Once again, this isn't political, but if you're choosing to make this pandemic political, you're part of the problem. The people who say that these vaccines are out to get us or getting vaccinated is wrong are the same people who are going to clog up our ICU beds, the same people that are going to die and refuse medical care, and the same people are going to prevent us from returning back to normal. People have suffered financially, societally, and mentally throughout this pandemic, and it's time to end the pandemic. We already have the means and the technology to do that. We're already so close to the end of the tunnel, and the fact that the same people that were demanding these vaccines at the beginning and saying that something needed to be done are now turning around and doing the opposite is completely ludicrous and crazy to me. The admins need to stop being monstrous cowards and take action for us to keep us safe. We're not political pawns in their games. We're people with lives, families, and things that we want to do with our lives, to get educations, to provide for our families, and enjoy life as we're meant to be. Let's make vaccines mandatory, Penn State.
This time, we're going to ask to come to the microphone Larry, who is a member of the community.
This way? This way. Okay, cool. Hi everyone, my name is Mary. I'd like to first thank the organizers of this event for letting me speak. I think they keep asking me because I'm really loud. So,
Be loud!
I'm a community member here in State College, and I'm very afraid for the health of my fellow community members and workers here in the town and in the rest of the county. I've been a frontline worker here in Center County for a little over a year. 4 to 5 days a week, I put on my face mask and go into work, where on a slow day, I come into contact with at least 25 people. During move-in weekend, it was close to 200. This number has been increasing over the last 2 weeks. I have no idea where any of these people are coming from or anything about their lives. I don't know their vaccination status. I don't know their thoughts on masking. Nobody really wears them, so I guess that tells me all I need to know. But what I do know is that the reason that they are here in State College is because of this university. The entire economy of this area revolves around Penn State. The staff of every restaurant, hotel, and retail shop in this area are at the mercy of this university. Employment in these sectors are tied to the university's academic calendar, especially for those who are working for tipped wages. Bosses around the town know this and use the explosion of visitors during football season as a way to avoid paying their workers living wages. Many people have had to continue to put their lives at risk every day to survive. I know this. I had to do it. A friend and former colleague of mine had this to say about her experience working during this crisis. Just from the first weekend of students being back, I felt like I was literally experiencing the worst form of claustrophobia, and my anxiety was through the roof. Going from having less than 30 bodies in the store at the same time to over 100 in a small store is very nerve-wracking. Although I'm vaccinated, I haven't taken off my mask inside buildings. More importantly, I haven't taken my mask off at work because I know, come the fall, the whole town will feel a lot more populated. When thousands of students have traveled all around the world only to end up in the same small location at the exact same time, it definitely raises some suspicions about health and safety. I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with these old norms because I genuinely believe that the town is quite ready for the huge spike we're about to witness. In order to advance public health strategies here in State College and Center County, we must set our sights on this university. Faculty and staff at this university need to withhold their labor. Militant action is the only way forward because Penn State administrators and the Board of Trustees have left us no other option. They have ignored the petitions. They have prevented people from raising concerns at their town halls, if you even want to call it that. They have created 2 return to campus programs that blatantly disregard workplace safety and public health concerns to maximize profits for this university. Their entire plan to navigate this pandemic, which endangers the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, is strengthened by our fear of job loss and alienation. And those 2 things are perhaps the most powerful tools that the bosses have to use against us. And as history has shown here in the US, they are extremely effective. But we have also seen here and around the world, especially in the past year, is workers who are exhausted and afraid make the brave choice to unite in their workplace and put their faith in collective power to protect workers and to save lives. I'm going to finish up with a quote from the Scottish revolutionary John Maclean. The safety of society rests not in the hands of a few leaders or heroes, but in those of masses of mankind, conscious or unconscious. A growing mass of workers is becoming conscious of the need for a new society and is drifting our way, all right. The greater the drift, the more the props of capitalism will vanish, and hence the pending collapse of capitalism. Quantitative change on our side will become qualitative. In other words, newer and clearer views with higher and prouder spirits will come with numbers, and the moment will come, perhaps even this year, when the workers will challenge capitalism to the last fight and win to the world society of united human race, producing each for all and all for each. We, the community members, and especially workers here in State College, are here to support you, the faculty at this university. This is and will always be a united fight against exploitation by the bosses. But we need to take this first step together. All right, I'm done now. Thank you.
Statement. At this point, we want to ask someone who wasn't on the program but who has requested a couple of minutes.
We're polarized. We don't agree on everything. But I think one thing we can agree on is that we're all trying to do what we think is best. And what I think, in my heart, is best is saving lives. What could be more important than that? End of thought.
That was much less than 2 minutes, Julia. Okay, I guess she's donated the rest of her time to the next speaker, who's going to be, well, I shouldn't have said that. The next speaker is going to be Kirk French, who I was told is quite a character. But I'm taking back that 2 minutes I gave you, French, Kirk, so here you go. Hang on.
All right, can you hear me okay? All right, let's do this. So yes, I'm Kirk French. I'm a teaching professor of anthropology, and I teach a class called Booze and Culture, or Anthropology of Alcohol, more officially. It's now the largest anthropology class in the United States. And it's because students love anthropology so much at Penn State. There's no doubt that that's the reason. Now listen, 2 years ago, I was honored with the Atherton Award for Teaching Excellency. In large part because of that class. The support I received and the freedom given to design and teach that course the way I wanted to, it helped me to excel. And I'm very proud of this award. I take it everywhere I go. This grocery store, everywhere. I just have it with me. Now, as we all know, Penn State has a very long history of excelling. We have excelled dramatically. We've excelled at research, at teaching, and occasionally even in athletics. But how can we excel now? How can we excel as teachers if our classrooms aren't safe? How can we excel at research if our labs and our libraries aren't safe? How can our students excel at learning if our campuses and our communities aren't safe? We already know the answer to this. We can't. We can't do it. We can't do it under these conditions. And I've read the many hollow statements put forth by the administration about how safe they've made our campus. Well, my class that I mentioned earlier, and it's over in 100 Thomas Building, some of you might have been in there before, there's 726 seats for my 726 students. Stadium seating. And when you sit down, I did the measurements yesterday in class. When you sit down in there, in your seat, your average seat, you have 18 people around you that are less than 6 feet from you. It's like being in a packed elevator with 19 people for 75 minutes. There's absolutely nothing safe about that. And if that is considered safe, I have an invitation for President Barron, Provost Jones, and a few of the trustees to come to my lecture next Tuesday at 3:05 p.m. in 100 Thomas Building. Let's see them sit through 75 minutes of hot breath coming from all sides. And you know what? Here's the other thing. If they don't walk out with COVID, which I hope they don't, that would be awful. But if they don't, at the very least, they're going to walk out with a better understanding of human behavior. Because after all, that's what anthropology is all about. It's peering through the time and space to better understand why we are the way we are. And so often that answer, unfortunately, is economics. It's resources. That's what it comes down to so often throughout history. And lo and behold, if money isn't at the center of our dilemma with the lack of a vaccine mandate. Now, I don't know what, if anything, will come of us gathering here today. We got to try, though. We got to fight, right? We got to. But the administration and the Board of Trustees have made it abundantly clear that the health and safety of our faculty, students, staff, and community are not what's really important. What is important to them is the roughly $350 million in state appropriations being threatened by our politicians in Harrisburg. That they've made that clear. So, well, maybe it's time to ask for some help from higher up. Maybe the federal government. So today, even though I won't be listened to, I'm asking the government. I'm asking President Biden and his administration to extend the vaccine mandate he recently imposed on all active military personnel and contractors, as well as all federal employees. I'm asking for that vaccine mandate to be required for all institutions that maintain military contracts and receive research funding from the federal government. Because I tell you what, that $350 million those are concerned about from Harrisburg won't mean very much to the over $700 million that we receive from the federal government in the form of military contracts from the Navy, the Department of Defense. And I'm also going to suggest one more thing. That this also goes in, that what should happen is the federal government should put a moratorium on all grant applications to the National Science Foundation, the National Institutes of Health, and other federal agencies from universities and institutions that do not have a vaccine mandate. Halt it immediately. Without that money, we cannot operate. Listen, I brought this plaque. I said I'd bring it everywhere. I brought this plaque for my Atherton Award because I was going to give it back today. I was going to walk up there and that's what I was going to do.
You should smash it.
Well, let me get to that. No. Hold on.
I got a lighter.
Because I did it because I was disappointed with this university, and that's why I was going to do it. But here's what happened. My wife, Laurel, she's also a faculty member in the anthropology department. She talked me off the ledge, as she often does, and she reminded me that the students nominated me for this. The students gave me this. They didn't give me this. I'm too proud of this. I ain't giving it back. No way. I have grocery shopping to do, and I need to take it with me everywhere I go. All right, so the last thing I want to say, I know I've been up here a long time, and I'm sorry, but I just want to say this. We are so broken. We are all so tired. We're tired as parents. We're tired as teachers, as staff, as researchers, as business owners. We're broken and we're tired. And the thing is, Barron and Jones, you're tired too. You're exhausted. You're exhausted. Just put an end to this. Vaccinate now so we can have a better spring semester. Do the right thing and vaccinate Penn State now.
I gotta say, I'm really mad at the MCs for this event because I have to follow that speech, which was just incredible. And I have to say that all of those points, and every single point that I would have wanted to have made has been made. And we've been out here a long time, but I do want to point out something which I think is pretty incredible, which is that we started out this rally with a bunch of counter-protesters with a lot of nastiness. And now at the end of this rally, it's only us that are here. If that's not a metaphor for what we can do when we work together, I don't know what is. And I will say that not only about extending the vaccine mandate, for me personally, watching this has been a little bit like watching a horror movie, a bad horror movie, because every single time you think that the main character is not going to walk down those stairs, isn't going to open up the locked door, isn't going to walk into the woods by himself or herself, they end up doing it. And that's the same exact thing the university has done. Every single time there's been an opportunity to do something that would mitigate the effects of the COVID pandemic, the university has failed to do that, starting last year with an inadequate testing policy. Then you wait and see, okay, well, you know what? It's an emergency authorization. Let's wait and see if there's a regular authorization. Let's wait and see what our Big Ten colleagues are going to do. Every step of the way, when there's an off-ramp to this COVID pandemic, the university has decided to stick on the highway of the pandemic. And that's what's really frustrating for me as a community member, as a faculty member, as a parent, and as someone who loves this community. And thank you. And the one final thing I would mention that's been on my mind has been the Sturgis motorcycle rally. I don't know if any of you have heard about this occurring in South Dakota, and what some of the numbers have indicated is that as a result of the rally, much of it being outdoors, right, there was a 1,500% increase in COVID cases in South Dakota and the surrounding community. What the university is embarking on right now in the fall, with no mask mandate, no vaccine mandate, no testing requirement for anyone who comes into Beaver Stadium for the football games, is essentially guaranteeing mini Sturgises all throughout the fall. And such progressive hotbeds like Louisiana are mandating that anyone who comes into their stadiums needs to either show proof of a vaccine or show proof of a negative COVID test. If that's not the height of irresponsibility from the university, I don't know what is. And I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the coalition for inviting me, and most importantly, I want to thank the coalition for the important work. Whether or not this is successful or not, the fact is we have to fight, we have to make our voices heard, and the work that they have done has been truly incredible, and it's an honor to share this platform with all of these wonderful speakers and with an organization like this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gopal. All right, we've come to the end of our fun time here this afternoon. I just want to say thank you. To the event organizers, to the faculty who helped elevate student voices, and to the students who stepped up to speak today. You know, this, like I said, this is really special that the student-faculty bond, they're so united on this issue, and it is really, really powerful. And I hope this can maybe change something. So I'm going to turn over to Michael just to close it out as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I wonder if this place is so lonely every Friday afternoon.
We got some people watching us, don't worry.
I see, okay. They're up there. Big Brother is up there looking at us. Okay, very good. Perhaps he learned something. I want to thank you for coming to this event. Thank you for your patience through all the ruckus and all the snafu, including the four protester, the provocateur. I want to thank most of all the CJU and the untiring and unceasing workers of that organization for putting on this event. There is a sense in which this pandemic has brought out the best among many of us, and certainly the CJU is an example of that. Thank you for coming. We're still fighting, and we're going to continue to fight until they vaccinate Penn State now. Vaccinate Penn State now. Keep the faith, go home, keep the faith, and continue the struggle. We have another speaker?
My fault.
Oh, okay, all right. Go ahead.
You're going to give a chance.
You chant, please. You're young.
I'm sorry I cut you off there. All right, one last time for the races. Penn State! Vaccinate! Penn State! Vaccinate! What do we want? Vaccinate! When do we want it? 3 weeks ago! Vax up or pack up! 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 Thank you guys for coming. One more, sorry.
Which way? Okay, here. Hold on. Don't go yet. Appropriately enough, Old Main is a temple, isn't it? It's modeled after a Greek temple. What temple? Temple of education. And to get to this temple, we walk up the stairs. And who are the stairs? We are. We are the steps that allow us to reach to knowledge, to be a community. For the Greeks, the temple was the excellence of their community. So it is for us. And that's why it's called Old Main. You are all so beautiful. We are so diverse. I would like to ask you to come up to the steps and create a collage of all the signs that you made. We made some, but come up and take up a place on the steps so that we can create a collage of how diverse, how creative, how we are invested, how we are committed to keeping our community safe. We are those steps. We are lives on which other lives stand up. Please, come, join us. Bring your side, please. Let's create this image, this composite image of who we are. Thank you so much for coming. This is about us, as teachers, as students, as staff, as members of our community. My favorite is this one. Are we really, when we do not care about our students, our staff, our community, of course, and our teachers? So please, thank you. Celebrate your beauty, our diversity, our power. This is us telling the administration that they have to issue a mandate for a vaccine. We created this vaccine in the United States. We have 3, as a matter of fact, and more are on the way. We ought to be proud of that. So let's stand behind the science. Thank you so much. Some of us, thank you. Yeah? You got that? Yeah. Okay, what is that? Oh, the signs. In case you didn't get the nuance and the semiotics of it, the signs say vaccinate Penn State, and some of them, if you notice, have the names of the universities that have already issued mandates. So why are we failing? Why? Why are we the last of the pack? Why? So demand of the administration and the board of trustees that we issue a vaccine mandate and that we continue the mask policies and the social distancing, and we improve our air conditioning systems, and most importantly, that we enhance, ramp up our mental health services for students, staff, and faculty. So, thank you. Now, I am a member of CJU, and I have been a member of CJU for, I don't know, over a year and a half. We have been working at this since the pandemic got going. And some of us have been asking the administration, we do the curriculum, we grade the students, we follow them, they're our children, we follow their lives, we write letters of recommendation for them, we nominate them for prizes. We care about our students, the same with our colleagues. We have been asking the administration for a year and a half, do better. You can do better. Testing, issuing a vaccine mandate. Way back in June, we were asking this. The administration has refused to listen to us. We are the steps that lead up to this temple. Therefore, some of us, some of my colleagues and I are going to walk up and do a walk-up and a standing and demand that Barron talk to us. Why has he continued for a year and a half, failed to address any of us? So, my colleagues, are we ready? We are going to walk up and ask President Barron to address the faculty. He should be here, or is he at a happy hour? No, he should be here. He works for the state, he works for us, so he should be there. So, my friend Gary and I are going to walk up and demand that President Barron meet with us or make an appointment with us, because he hasn't for the last 18 months. So with that, thank you so much, and we're going to do our walk up and then stand in. Thank you.
Me too.
What's up?
What's going on here, man?
Not much. Just there walking.
I am not a student, actually. I'm an alumni. So I might be giving a quite different perspective, but as somebody who was a senior, just as COVID was hitting, I'll be telling my tale as to how this has really messed up my Penn State experience, and I know how much it's messing up yours. So we'll also have another student who's currently here give a speech and tell you guys about how his experience is at Penn State and why we think we should end this mask mandate. It is something at this point that seems ridiculous. It needs to end now because nobody wants to be wearing masks. You don't see anybody around here wearing masks right now because we're outside, we're having fun. We want the full Penn State experience. So who here wants to wear masks? Anybody want to wear a mask?
No!
No, that's right. So we're gonna tell President Barron, tell everybody in charge that we want to end the mask mandate now. So I'm Sean. I'll be speaking in a few minutes, but first I'm going to hand over to my friend Matt, and he's going to give a speech about his experience.
Let's go, Matt. Let's go, Matt. Yeah, Matt.
Thank you, Sean.
Just keep talking.
Thank you, Sean. It is clear among most students here that the mask mandate needs to end today. We have seen over the last 18 months of this pandemic that the pandemic is over. You have seen the pandemic has ended. So I'll talk about my experience. I'm in 4 classes currently, and it's obvious that people don't want to enjoy wearing masks. When you go to the campus gyms even, you see that people do not want to wear masks, and that actually it has become on how are you supposed to work out? How are you supposed to be able to understand the professor when they're speaking when they're fully wearing a mask? And at the same time, the university does not care that the vaccination rates that they have released last night are at 80%. 80% of students are fully vaccinated, but the university has reported. Why are we, she has her card, why are we still doing this? The pandemic has ended. No students are at risk of this virus. What are we doing? Do you want to say more? All right, thank you, Matt. So, like I said, I'm an alumni, but I still come back to campus every now and then to see my friends, see my girlfriend, and have a good time in general. Because I'm sure you guys know that Penn State is probably one of the most fun places you can go to. You have the football games, you have Greek life, you have your clubs. But when the pandemic hit, all that ended. It went to Zoom, and like, let's be honest, does anybody like Zoom? Does anybody really like using Zoom to have a club meeting?
No.
I mean, it's not the same. You can't be in the same room with everyone. You're just stuck with a bunch of screens. It's just a bunch of screens. It's no fun. And I was actually president of a club right before I graduated and when the pandemic hit. And it was a hard transition, but we were able to do it, and it worked. But as everybody knows, it was terrible. It's not fun. You don't get to see your friends. You don't get to go out downtown and have fun at the Atherton Grill, to have fun at Champs, to go see whatever's happening at the BJC, or to see a football game. It was all ended for the pandemic. And you could say it's understandable. I mean, at the beginning, we were all pretty scared. We didn't know what this virus was or what it was going to do to anyone. But at this point, we know what the virus is. We know that it is transmittable highly transmissible under the Delta variant, but it's way less deadly. It's nowhere near as severe as it used to be, and so we don't need to have any harsh restrictions. We don't need to do any mitigation efforts, but if you want to, you will be fine. The only thing we're against really is mandating it. We're fine with personal freedom. That's what we're all about here, is freedom. We want you to have the freedom to do what you want.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is that right? And it's not a Republican issue, it's not a Democrat issue, it's a fully nonpartisan issue, COVID-19. It affects everybody equally. And if anything, you could say it affects older people, overweight people, people with pre-existing conditions more. But if those people want to stay home, if they want to wear a mask, they can do it. If you want to wear a mask, if you want to stay home, you can do it. Or if you want to live your life, you want to go out mask-free, if you want to go to class and be able to breathe again,
That's right.
you should have the personal choice to do so. It should be up to you.
That's freedom, baby.
And like I said, I'll give my story about my time, because right after COVID hit, I graduated. And as anybody who's part of the class of 2020 knows, we didn't have graduation. Thankfully, Penn State will be having one, so credit where credit's due that they're doing that. But I didn't get to walk. I didn't get to have my special moment with a picture of me in my cap and gown, shaking hands with President Barron, and receiving my diploma. I took it in my backyard, in front of a bunch of pine trees. It's not the same. It's not the same. And I don't want you guys to have to suffer like that too. That's why I'm here. I don't want you guys to have to deal with this stuff any longer than you have to. And we even just got data last night from Penn State that said 80% of students have submitted their vaccination status. 80% are fully vaccinated. I have to keep saying that to really get it in your head that 80%. It's not 20%, it's not 15, it's not 2, it's 30% higher than the national average, which is hovering around 50% for fully vaccinated. It's getting close to the 60s, but we're still doing better than anywhere else in the country in terms of vaccination. And if you believe in the vaccine, if you don't, that's fine. But we were told, you get the vaccine, you can throw away your mask. You get the vaccine, you can have your freedoms back. You can live life again.
So true.
Which seemed reasonable, right? And a lot of people got the vaccine for that reason. Some still haven't. That's okay. Again, it's about your freedom. My body, my choice.
That's right.
That simple. And then one side of that. And lastly, I want to touch on two more things. First of all is the mental health damage that this pandemic has done to people. And it's not the virus. It's these draconian, awful restrictions on people's lives. I was unemployed for 6 months because of the pandemic. It was hard getting a job. We were locked down and I was stuck inside. I went insane. I know everybody else went insane. I can tell. It sucked. It was awful. And it didn't need to be that way. We didn't need to be forced to live that way. And at this point, with 80% fully vaccinated on campus, people should be able to choose if they want to live that way or if they want to go and live their life to the fullest. We're human beings. We need to socialize. We need to have friends. We need to be together. And when you take that away, you can have depression. You can have anxiety. Suicide has gone up dramatically because of the COVID restrictions. And it could have all been prevented. It could have been prevented. And we don't want any more of that. So we want to end the mask mandate. We want to end this scar that is being put on our mental health and preventing us from breathing, literally, in classes. And some people say, do masks even work? Do they work at all? Well, we had some people not too long ago here, a few days ago, that held these signs saying, masks work, I trust the science, I am science. Well, let's look at the science. There is a study that just came out from the University of Waterloo in the UK. You want to know what it said about masks? That they are only 10% effective if you're wearing one of the blue surgical masks, if you're wearing one of the cloth masks, which have holes in them. I mean, if you look at my shirt, you look at your shirt, you'll see holes in them that let the virus in. So we know that those masks are ineffective. So what's the point in wearing them? What's the point in forcing people to wear masks that are only 10% effective and damage your health? Because you're not getting as much oxygen into your body. You're just getting CO2, CO2, CO2. It's all you're breathing in. It's not the same. It's not good, it's not healthy, and people should be able to choose what they want to do. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today, but what we're gonna do next, as I see we have a good group here, is we're gonna start marching that way, unmasked and free, since it is our choice, it is our freedom, and we're gonna walk around a bit and let people know that we want to end the mask mandate at Penn State. We want to end forever, and we want our freedoms back.
Yeah. That was a good one, bro. Thank you.
Thank you.
In case anybody screams and calls us anti-vaxxers, I'll show them that I'm a fully vaccinated student.
Yeah. He's been itching to get back on campus.
Like the mid-afternoon. Did you go to the Turning Point meeting last week?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Oh, good. It was a good turnout.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna try to go this week. I don't know if I can make it through.
Yeah.
When is it, Thursday?
7 in Willard.
I have an assignment. Honestly, no, it's okay. It's just a module on that course. Yeah, Sean. Hey, Sam. Sam, what are you doing?
Okay. Wait, look at speaker for a little bit. Big rally.
You get that job yet? What job? I don't know what I'm doing yet. I just got a job, so kind of like a. Well, I'm doing something on the side. So I don't know. If it's gonna do that. Like $8. I don't know. Yeah, I know. Honestly, I know what you're saying.
I need.
Like it did in DC in 2001.
Oh my God.
It's going to do nothing for you. Believe the science behind it.
Alright, man, I gotta take a flash. I'll see you around. Yeah, man. Good seeing you again.
Yeah, you're around. What? Oh my God.
No masks in the hub.
Yeah, I mean, no one's enforced it.
My favorite one is you can eat right there. I can't stand.
Yeah.
That's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I walk around like it's okay, I have no identified group.
Going?
Let's find out.
They're on.
They don't know who I am, where I'm from, what I do. So it's okay. Don't care.
Holy shit.
You got 100 maskless people slobbering over their foods. And then, you know, you got to run in the line.
It can't get you when you're
Can't get you more. Is this the amount you said?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be
My camera will go up further.
And then they just want
People start like asking for all our faces, so like
You a member or an observer? A bit of both. I'm a member, but keeping a video for record. Get the word out. Hey. Still here. And then if nobody comes 5 minutes, we can. Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Going?
Did not lose the They relocated. Okay. This is like
What Sean has next of his
from 1999 forward. They created a patent on the vaccine before the outbreak ever. This is like a money-making thing.
I'm sorry, how did you hear about this event?
It was online.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get you my card. Yeah, I can give you one. I'm like the center kind of. So I'll give you that.
Would you like me to email you with the contact?
Yeah, that will work. Yeah, why don't you just shoot me an email?
Absolutely.
And I didn't get your name.
My name is Julie.
Nice to meet you. Are you with a group?
Well, it is a group. It's really honestly a pretty small group right now.
Where are you? Where are you from? I'm ready.
It looks like a and really, it isn't just information about what's going on. There's a lot of mitigation.
What he says about cheating on consequences, they were nothing more than a slap on the wrist. That's not relevant to anything. No, it's not. That's not relevant to that act. I should be able to make jokes about Democrats stealing drugs and get away with it.
It's just a
What Kathy Griffin did is free speech, then so do my jokes about stealing Booker being a dog. Free speech.
Yeah, they're government.
I actually got an opportunity for you.
I said, One of the best I wear this. Some professors will get really ticked off at you. I've had that happen. And I've had to like promise to wear a mask. I didn't actually promise. I said, I just never responded and I just considered back in class. From a distance you can't tell. But if I'm like where we are now, you can tell.
Okay. And I mean, I don't know, would you be willing to disguise my voice if possible? Yeah, you don't have that kind of software, but sure, I'll talk.
Oh, really? I know. I support free
I'll say my name is Maria, but I won't say the name that everybody, that I let everybody call me because that would give me away. And they probably will know me by the sound of my voice, so that's what I'm going to do, but
The National Dumbass Society was meeting today.
What was like, dude, is people smoking ever? Like one of the face covering. Oh my gosh. My RA like walks right by.
Your RA says great sign. Thank you. It was my mom's idea. I'm just the arm to hold it. So. Did you get one of these? I did not.
There you go.
And if you just have friends, oh, I do have. I've got a lot. I'm in a club with like 40 other people, and I know there's people on my side. I've got access to some. Put them on. You should put these on all the classrooms. You like Martin Luther posting the 99. Yeah. Just tape these to all the classrooms. Somebody who's listening to history. I love it. They'd get torn down immediately, but it'd be worth waiting on.
I'm not one of those people. I'm one of the vaccinated.
Like normally I would think that you guys.
We don't truly know how long efficacy for this vaccine actually lasts.
No, seriously, the average is 100. Now,
Yeah, that was kind of confusing because anybody who's 5 minutes late went back.
Yeah, I was trying to talk long enough that hopefully everybody was coming on, but, you know. Yeah, I didn't like know what to say. You called me out. I should have had like a yeah. You did good.
I was fine.
You were ready. Yeah. It's been 2 years. I was father was ready for this. I was not ready. Well, I've gotten used to doing off-the-cuff speaking after doing enough time. Yeah. And when I got up there, yeah, it happens all the time, right? You think you know what you're gonna say, and the second you get up there, you're like, ooh. Yeah, even I, like, right when I got up there, I hadn't done this in a long time. So I'm like, yeah, once you got like going though, you got into a group, and you were talking about like the other colleges and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to hit on everything. Yeah, what account is she streaming on? My account, my Twitter. It's the biggest I had. I realized it on stuff. But I'll do that interview. Yeah. Yeah.
I would skip class. I told them I had but I keep setting it up. Switch. Oh my god. Yeah. Time.
Where are you?
High school. I was in high school.
They have to release in classes. We're going to have to release something
I realize everything's going to be on Zoom, so I can't really pay attention. Well, I'm delighted to see you.
Yeah, we're gonna walk back outside. Back outside.
You generate the immunity.
Yeah.
You gotta get exposed. I mean, that's the thing. You should go get exposed.
I think we need natural immunity. I forget how tall you are.
I know something.
Yeah. Funny thing is, my brother's actually like a half inch taller than me.
Oh, jeez.
Well, if you want to know what a mostly peaceful, or actually rather what a 100% peaceful protest looks like, this is it. You'll notice there's no trail of smoke and fire behind us.
There's a 2 billion in property damage.
Or 2 billion in
yeah,
property
like-
damage. Or even anybody coming up trying to punch us or violently confront us. No. Are we going somewhere else or are we going home?
I can't believe we actually did that. Oh, man. That's so bold.
Are we going back to Old Main? Because there's people waiting at Old Main.
No, I'm waiting. There are people
waiting for it.
Give the people what they want.
Well, no, in fact, I think getting to do that interview was actually helping me with my confidence.
Yeah, you guys are obviously not Antifa.
Project.
They know how to put something together.
Well, no, as I said, you're not going to see fire or smoke trailing us or 2 billion in property damage.
No, I even wore my bike helmet.
Were you expecting to get hit by a bat or a club or something?
Yeah,
The bike locks, yeah.
You know, the level of fear is really high.
I don't know who's at Old Main.
My father said, call him if something starts going down.
Well, when I was at Don Jr.'s rally last October, I think I got grazed by a water bottle from one of the Biden protesters.
Second row. First row.
I was in the first row. I was the girl in the red dress who was shouting out the funny stuff. I call it, if I had gone to Ole Miss, that would have been my game day dress, but I call it my... If I'm at Ole Miss, it's my game day dress. If I'm out for a rally, it's my rally.
Problem with libertarians is they don't like to legs.
Is that what you are, a libertarian?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess you'd say that.
Everybody's got a little libertarian.
If you're an American, you don't have any libertarian in you,
Then you must be in the government.
Right. Yeah, we have 2 classes, the dominant and the servant class.
I work in the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
You work for the
Of course I do.
What do you do?
We grow plants.
And I want to come help out.
Work at a botanic garden. I know.
He's given his speech, so we can just go back to if there's more mass, I don't think might as well regular force rate. And I want to walk through the hub again because it's air conditioned. And it's short.
No, it's last.
Yeah, I can know.
What do you have on your
So, are there helicopters? Are there helicopters?
Yeah, that was...
Oh, okay. So you're...
Not there.
Yeah, it went really well. There was so it was really good turnout. And then
Yeah, our department head is like...
Chocolate chips.
His week's he was just really upset that
Chocolate
the
chips.
media was suddenly like doing its job.
Well, you know what?
I want to know, like, at this point,
oh no, Sean.
50 people in these tiny classes.
I guess we should.
Okay. And do you think, so what do you think about the university?
Well, I mean, if they believe
We do have
science,
the numbers there saying that 80% of university students have said that they have.
Thank you.
Not all women have vaginas and not all men have vaginas. What kind of science is that?
Somebody's been able to do eye contact with people and they smile back. He was a counter protester that may have been against. Yeah, but he wasn't doing anything illegal. He was just taking them off. And it wasn't really right of them to go and attack him. He was just
Yeah, but see, we're dealing with mind control. That's very thick. Mind control people. Yeah, that's true. They've been weaponized.
Do you think we should walk back through college? Like walk on the sides, and then that'll give us more visibility than just walking straight back to Old Main.
It's easier to offer an apology than obtain permission. That's the
It's easy enough for forgiveness then.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like that.
Notices.
Yeah, who's this guy?
Court summons. I think the lack of masks.
Everybody's forced anti-vaccination mandate. These people out here,
Born in New York when I grew up.
and they're
Interned in New Jersey because they were hiring. They're the type of person I
all
want to work
vaccinated
at.
probably, and yet they're worried about COVID. It's irrational at that point because they are social distancing and they're vaccinated. It makes no sense. Even the CDC says you don't need a mask outside.
And how likely, how willing do you think that what do you think would be a success at this point for the rally? Is it likely that the administration will be you're telling me my group, or do you just think that just because there hasn't been a lot of voices like yourself, you're probably just doing that?
Well, I hope the administration listens and so notified that it needs, and ultimately they need to end the mask. They need to end it. They need to end the mental scar that they're putting on students, healthy students, students are perfectly safe. It's completely unfair to them. And I hope they listen. I hope they end the mandate. And I think it's good that they have not mandated the vaccine. I think that's good because people should be able to put whatever they want in their body. They should have to force anything in their body that they don't want to.
It takes practice.
I think it's very reasonable concern to raise, and I hope they do something.
And I was talking to Miriam, and she was bringing up this point regarding that those who are against masking and against vaccines are monolithic.
Yeah.
Population, there's a certain idea about that.
It's like every 50 minutes on the hour.
Are we walking too fast, or should we slow down?
No, I don't want to
Okay.
run you over if you want.
I don't want to run you over. Just wanted to make sure. It's nice. It's overcast.
Yeah.
It gives us some shade.
Better than the bloody sun of the vaccine rally.
It is. It's pretty pleasant.
Could be slightly less muggy.
There's no counter protesters either. I was kind of hoping I could interact with the
I was figuring there would be.
And I actually wanted to talk to them and be like, so why are you here?
Does that mean there's little support for the other side? Is the one guy doing this?
It's possible.
I don't remember how you saying it. That's the number one thing. Literally.
There you go.
I'm going to wait.
Except now there's
What's going on? Yeah, anyone I saw the cop right in the middle. I saw the cop and then there was like a little dude over there.
No, like,
I know I'm not alone. I know there's a mental health crisis like you've never seen before in this country. Historic mental health crisis. And doing mass mandates.
oh yeah. Unfortunately, you were too sick to go get tested. Yeah, it was unfortunate. Yeah, because now they're harassing me about weekly tests. There was like
I'm not even on.
I almost put it in the RUF group, but I was like, I shouldn't have. Should have. So hard to bust the guts, man.
If you need the red nail polish, that's right.
I don't wear nail
We have nice hair though. I probably told you that the first time I met you.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I always tell guys with long hair they got nice hair.
I appreciate that.
Outside old names to what's a good way to put this? It's not gonna make me hate me.
To
rally against Ohio State.
Against
Ohio State? Wow, everybody that's a good
Okay,
idea.
that's lying. Can't do that.
Well, if Ohio State has a mask mandate, we could say that. We could kind of twist it. We could twist it.
She knows how to ask to have the leaves removed.
No, I know.
Smart dog if she can do that. Hey, Jake.
That's one of the guys.
I'll flip this into one of those. Come on, guys. Anybody who supports us, please come forward.
What's up, Jacob?
Don't be afraid. You're not going to get harassed.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to wear a helmet
And
because
they've got all our biometric data now, so they're going to be coming after us.
Oh, they have everything. They have everything about me on file. They could probably tell you. They could probably tell you what the scar on my left shoulder is because I'm sure it's. I'm sure I've had to answer that question.
I sent out a message. I did it. I jumped the gun and sent a message in the area of hangout chat. If I really wanted to be weird, I was getting ready to I could press the announcement chat instead of the
Well, the thing is, if we face any blowback, I mean, we got to know who we can reach out to. Either Foundation for Individual Rights and Education, Fire might take our case. I think we could try Alliance Defending Freedom.
We should definitely do this again.
Nah,
Is this
the
time
people
worth
coming and going.
Is anybody skipping class to be here? You, I am too. Let's go.
The dog.
Alright. I mean, we could like meet like every Tuesday. Although then I would be missing class every Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm a
Wednesday, we could, yeah, I could.
With the Daily Collegian, would you mind doing a quick interview?
Only if you put me in a good light.
I will put you through it. Promise you that.
All right, what the heck? I've done it.
All the time.
Here, I'll step up here so you don't have the background noise. That's okay.
Let's get
First, could you just spell your name? For what?
That's what Ron
They have to wear it. 8 people showed up. So that's a thing.
Yeah, you guys are the unmasked Penn State. Is it good?
There's an unmasked Penn State group now?
Yeah.
That's
What do you want painted on?
Thanks for showing up, Jake. You got a nice bike. Looks like you're sitting on a couch with your bike.
I'll do it. Kind of.
Such a nice seat.
So, yeah, or I used to, well, I actually, this is a different seat. I changed out the seat. So the old seat was like garbage. And then, since I don't have a car, like if I want to go shopping, this is what I'm going.
Nice, dude. Nice.
I had to teach myself to do this instead of this.
Hop on it, weird. Yeah, that would be weird.
Yeah, this was my dad's. So the one that I had, like, kind of
I
wore it
just,
to the ground.
the only place I have to put one on is when I join the library here. But I just write a message.
Somebody wanted to
Oh yeah, that's the one.
It's pretty solid looking on your face.
Well, I just need one for one kid doing the construction.
A lot of people don't like to stir the pot. A lot of people are here just to either get an education or have fun.
What things can I add to this? Like,
Yeah, are you gonna use? Don't tell me you're using that.
No.
I mean, my aunt.
Oh, I wish I brought Hannah and Nadia.
Oh, you missed them.
Although this could be civics class.
That's what I figured.
But I don't know. I never tried. Really, there is. We're very. Around here, I think it's most.
Yeah, and he makes jewelry with using
Friday night? Really?
and yeah, and I had that ring for like 4 years and wore it every day everywhere I went.
What is this place called? I wonder
and are not effective. They're also encroaching on your medical liberties and your civil liberties. This is not what the Penn State community represents, and it is not who we are. This is not who
We are. We are. We are. We are.
Welcome everybody to the Anti-Vaxx Mandate. Started in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, Penn State. Yeah. What's the rule about using a microphone to call the one I'm going to buy it?
My Lions for Liberty have organized here. Stand up against this tyranny. We have our activists, our student activists in Turning Point USA over here.
Not us.
We got a hell of a speaker line up here for you guys today.
There you go.
It's almost 12 o'clock. So I can't downtown
It's the sign.
Don't wait a couple minutes for him to walk. He's like, all right, he's there, he said, just walk. Halfway up, I'm pretty good steps.
Yeah, Kevin. Actually, I think the police are on there. Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. You guys can hear me?
Yep.
Thanks so much for coming out. Good afternoon, freedom fighters. My name is Kevin McKenna, and I currently serve as the president of the Penn State chapter of Turning Point USA. And I'm the chief organizer of the event we have all cordially gathered for here today. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to you all. And with yesterday having been Veterans Day, I would like to thank all veterans in attendance for their great service to this nation. We are gathered here as members of the community of Penn State University. We gather together as a group of students, faculty, staffers, general employees who have worked together for years to make this community the great place that it is. However, the beauty of this community has recently been overshadowed by administrative policies targeting the unvaccinated. On December 8th, the employees of this institution lacking proof of a COVID vaccination will be wrongfully placed on leave. This is a policy we have come together to voice unapologetic and unwavering opposition towards. Cause of liberty and as advocates of medical freedom, which is a principle we have seen ignored by this university.
Ladies and gentlemen, the cause of liberty is what we're here to support. We gather here today as Penn Staters, as free Americans, as lovers of liberty, as champions of choice and defenders of bodily autonomy. We have several speakers lined up today to discuss the importance of standing united in opposition to this mandate, including Dean Klopp of the Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance, health and wellness expert Dr. Tracy Straub, Representative Stephanie Borowitz, and our keynote speaker, who is leading the fight against these tyrannical mandates on the Pennsylvania Capitol Hill, State Senator Doug Mastriano. I now invite Representative Stephanie Borowitz to lead us in our opening prayer.
I think we should have told him before he said it that they pushed the mandate back to the 4th.
I'm not going to use that. I didn't know I was opening in prayer, but I love to always pray. So let's pray. Jesus, I thank you that we can come together, God, at such an amazing place, God, Penn State University, God, and we're just going to take back ground, Lord Jesus, in this nation for you, for your kingdom, for your glory, God. So I pray that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we move forward. I pray you give us favor, God. I pray that you be with us, help us to defend and fight for liberty that only comes through you, Jesus. We thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. How far up here do you want me to go? So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Tracy Straub. I am a naturopathic doctor. I've been in the health and wellness field for over 25 years. And guys, you know, I know that you're suffering the medical tyranny right now, but I have to tell you, the only reason that you see it is because it's on your doorstep. That's as loud as it goes. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
It's a bad Verizon commercial. It's not easy. Grassroots. So I've been in the health and wellness industry for over 25 years. There's been much oppression when it comes to being able to practice legally, your choices and what your insurance will pay for. The only reason that we're feeling it now is because it's on your doorstep. And you know, that's usually when people stand up and fight. But I've been in this medical freedom fight for over 20 years with people that are on the front lines and out there. And guys, you have to keep fighting because we do make headway, things do change. Is anybody aware of what happened with the mask mandates in the state of Pennsylvania with the children? That we actually won? What the verdict was that mandate was illegal from the beginning. So this is just a little sidebar for districts, school districts, is that if you're going to place masks back on your kids, when it does go through appeals and it does come back as unconstitutional, those fake lawsuits that they were threatening you with, there'll be some real ones from parents if you don't listen to us now. So we have to keep it. Our medical system has always been a system of repression. You know, there's no pharmaceutical on the market that cures anything. It's a symptom repressor. And so repression is part of the game. This is not new. And so my whole goal as I go out as a health and wellness and medical freedom advocate is to take the entire model of disease management and shove it into an abyss and blow it up and start over again. We need a new way of healthcare, and it's not by taking your rights away and coercing you into choices that you don't want for your own body. There are alternatives. I practice them every day. There are people that are medical professionals that practice functional medicine. I advise you to seek them out. There are people out there that understand the battle that you're in because they have benefit in their entire lives. Doctors are being suppressed. It's more than just us. They can't even practice anymore without being threatened, coerced themselves, not being reimbursed for treating patients. So our entire medical facility, community, and pharmaceutical community has to change. On this point, with the whole "we are," and I see a lot of signs here. You know, guys, I'm an alumni of Penn State. I went here 24 years ago. A lot has changed, and I'm sure you guys know where that statement, "we are Penn State," has come from. There's discrepancies on whether the cheerleaders in the 1960s did it, or if the team captain, Steve Suey, was the one that said it, when he was overriding oppression. Does everybody know the origin of "we are"? Yeah. So it was an African-American football player who was added to the roster. And Steve Suey, the team captain, was opposed to a meeting that another school wanted to have with Penn State. He said, "We are Penn State. There will be no meeting to discuss whether or not we're going to play because we have added an African-American to our roster." See, at that time, Penn State pioneered things like culture, right? They pioneered things that were against oppression, against discrimination, against segregation. That's where "we are" came from. And here we are today, being oppressed, being repressed, being discriminated against, segregated against, for a choice on a statement that is supposed to include us all for equal opportunity. So like many things that have been twisted along the way, we need to take it back. Don't give it away. We are not going to say we were Penn State. We are Penn State. When I went here, it was the professors and the administrators and the teaching assistants who formed and shaped who I am today. You are Penn State, not some governing body that's telling you what you shouldn't do. The "we are" stood for our God-given right, not government, not employment, but your God-given right was given to you to choose first. To choose Him first, and then you can choose what is good for your body, which is the temple of the Holy Spirit. It's not a government thing to say. It's not an employment thing to say. It's God's thing, and you will stand before Him. Those words stood for understanding that fear should never be a factor when it comes to doing the right thing by humankind. Those words stood for decency, integrity, equal opportunity. They stood for standing out and being different and being the first. Penn State was the first, one of the first schools to integrate. And now we are going to be the last to take away this ridiculous coercion tactic over their employees who have served them so well. They are not Penn State. We are Penn State. So I don't want you to give that up. I don't want you to let them take that away from you. Because we are Penn State. You are who shaped these children that are becoming young adults. You are the people that are going to stand, even though these people don't know what they're losing. You're a representative and an example right now. Guys, I'm nobody. I came from grassroots, and I decided one day to stand up. And it only took one person to stand up to let others know that that's okay. And you know what happened from that point? I get to stand here. So every single voice in this crowd counts. You matter. Every single decision you make matters. It shows all of these students, it shows this administration who we are. And we are Penn State. Don't give that up and don't give it back. Take it back. So in 1946, that football team took the field. They stood for downing oppression, overcoming segregation, and bringing together a unified body of people that were going to stand for what Penn State was going to take out. 20 years before most other schools did it. Just because this administration that's running the school is taking a step backwards, we got to take 10 steps forward. It starts with no. No, we're not going to do it. We're not going to take the vax. We're not going to do the weekly testing. My body, my choice. I believe in God. Daughters and sons, King of the King and Lord of Lords. Only He has the rightful place to tell you how to lead your life. So we are the new 1946 team. You are all now suddenly team captains, maybe of your department or your family. You need to step up and say, we are Penn State. There will be no meeting. There will be no jab. There will be no testing. The answer is no today, tomorrow, and always. And that's what we need to stand on this day. So guys, before I go, I just want to remind you that any time that they're trying to oppress you, you're losing your freedoms. And every time you do one thing, I have heard over and over again, well, this is not the hill I die on. Guys, today, draw the line in the sand, because it won't stop. They're constantly going to come after you. They're going to come after your kids. They're going to keep going. We have to be the example for our children. Train them up so that they know not to depart from it. Because it's the slow indoctrination that gets us. You know, we always talk about the Nazis and getting on the train. You think they all just jumped on there one day? It was a slow indoctrination, and that's what's happening to our nation today. We've been indoctrinated to think that we're not smart enough to make medical decisions for ourselves anymore. We've been indoctrinated to think that, you know, no diseases can be cured, that once you get a diagnosis, it's over. We've been indoctrinated to think today that healthy people are sick, and somehow we can make other people sick. So guys, whether you choose the vaccine or you don't, it should be your choice. Always your choice. So I just want to thank Lions of Liberty and Turning Point and the representatives that showed up today. Senator Mastriano, I keep wanting to call him governor, I don't know why, but I just want to say thank you guys for showing up, and if no one has said it to you, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that they're doing this to you, that they think it's their right to do it, but guys, today's the day that you take it back, because we are Penn State. That's right, God bless you.
Ooh.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Bring it! Praise the Lord, what a great day, beautiful day. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you guys for having me. My name's Dean Klopp. I'm the co-founder of Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance. You may know us from our fight for liberty against mandates, protecting the Second Amendment through constitutional carry, auditing the vote, election integrity, and ending school property taxes. If you do, you know we've been all over the state, inflicting pain on politicians and holding them accountable to their constituents. Today I bring you a message of hope, that you too can make a difference. You see, in 2012, I was an angry, bitter man. I hated politicians. I did not like my government. Even though I was so blessed to have a wonderful, beautiful wife, 2 young boys, a successful contracting, consulting business, every night I'd still come home all ticked off because I see someone like President Obama spewing lies on the television. And I start cussing and cursing. I'm sorry to say, I'm ashamed of that. And I was a different man then. Finally, my family got tired of hearing that. One night they said to me, then why don't you do something about it? Wow, that pulled me up by my bootstraps. That got my attention. I had to shut up for a while and I had to really start thinking what I was going to do, if anything. And then I heard a man by Dr. Ron Paul, who was running that year for president. Maybe some of you know who he is. And I thought, this guy is so much like the Lord Jesus Christ. I'd love to be like him in politics. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know what I was going to do. Jeremiah 1 kind of led me in a direction. Verses 6 to 10. O sovereign Lord, I can't speak for you, I'm too young. The Lord replied, don't say I'm too young, for you must go wherever I tell you, and don't be afraid of the people. For I will be with you, and I will protect you. I, the Lord, have spoken. And the Lord reached out and touched my mouth and said, look, I have put words in your mouth. Today I appoint you to stand up against nations and kingdoms. Some of you must uproot and tear down, destroy and overthrow. Others you must build up and plant. The start of, amen. The start of becoming an activist was when I met Dr. Paul at an LPAC conference in Virginia, and I took a class on the true nature of politics and confrontational politics. I learned lessons that helped me organize, recruit, and build a grassroots network that today, with volunteers, spans the state and reaches nearly 25,000 folks. The Lord had begun to use me and introduce me to a core group of folks that form my board and directors of the Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance for His purpose and blessing. Together we work locally and statewide with many volunteers. We help local folks take back their local government. In my own township of Bethel, we now have all 3 supervisors elected from our folks. It took a 6-year period, but we're now in charge of our own township. My own school district, Tulpehocken, maybe you've heard of them. They've done things that no other school district has done in Pennsylvania. They scrubbed the mask mandate. They lowered school property taxes 5 straight years. Have you guys ever lowered school property taxes? They banned critical race theory. Just last week, we removed a 30-year incumbent, the one guy that voted against the critical race theory banning, and the one guy that voted against getting rid of the mask mandate. And in a write-in vote, we took him by 20%. And we threw him out. Folks, we've been the critical part of 2 state Senate campaigns, removing 1 Democrat and 1 Republican, because they had the audacity to vote against school property tax elimination. Why do we do this? You got to understand the real nature of politics. What is politics? It's not what Webster says. Folks, it's the adjudication of power. It's who controls who. Who controls the narrative? Are they in control or are we in control? And if that's true, then we got to get it back. Folks, some do it by force. I look at things going on around the world. Nelson Mandela was made out to be a hero. 30,000 people died by necklaces that were tires shoved over top of living human beings, doused in gasoline and lit on fire. That's how politics was done in South Africa. I'm not promoting violence, folks, but politics is not compromise, it is confrontation. How do we communicate with our politicians? And how do they communicate with us? Do we ask them for permission?
No.
Folks, if you want a friend in politics, get a dog. Why do I say this? Because too many of us want personal relationships with our politicians, okay? It usually ends in disaster. Instead of becoming the grassroots representative to the politicians, you then become the politician's mouthpiece to the rest of us. It's time for the politicians to be intimidated by us, not the other way around. Folks, we learned that if we believe what they, the politicians, tell us, ask yourself, how does it benefit them? Do you know politicians lie? I know. My own state representative, I asked him to sign on to Mrs. Horowitz's heartbeat bill, which he has. But at first he said, well, I don't know, Dean, I'm going to have to check with leadership on that. So he checked with Brian Cutler and Kerry Benninghoff, and they told him they've run enough abortion bills. I said, Barry, abortion is still legal. Oh, you know, you're right. Folks, and he signed on to the bill, but it took some encouragement, okay? How about this one? Have you heard this lie before? We need a Republican majority. I know Jake Corbin and Kerry Benninghoff raised our gas taxes, aren't doing anything about the vax mandate, screwed up the audit, passed universal mail-in ballots, and they didn't do anything to help our president. But hey, we don't want what's going on in Washington to happen here, right? Will you tell me if they don't vote the right way and they don't do what we want them to do, why do we need a Republican majority?
That's right.
What do we elect representatives and senators to do? To represent us, not the lobbyists in Harrisburg. Some ending thoughts, folks. Please call your state representatives, bother them every day, every week until they're tired of it. Tell them to skip the cocktail party, get to work on voting on bills to stop the mandates that they allow. Republicans, I'm so tired of Republicans playing defense. We don't need any more of them. We need the right kind of Republicans playing offense, taking back ground. There's no place to go with our liberties. If we take one more step back, we've lost. Do you understand this? There are not enough of them to stop us. They can't do it. Every single day I'm seeing more evidence of people standing up with non-compliance. That's what it's going to take to start taking our freedoms back, folks. Yep. But the political class and the corporate cronies aren't just going to give it to us. The pushback on tyrannical COVID mandates is coming to a boiling point. It needs to end now, or we will soon not have a whole lot of decisions left to make. Folks, the cavalry is not coming to save you, and I'm sorry, Donald Trump is not coming to save you. We have to save ourselves. Yep. Thank you very much for having me. God bless you. God bless you.
Allow me to introduce my Honorable Vice President, Antonio Benedetti.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Antonio Joseph Benedetti, and I am the Vice President of Turning Point USA here at Penn State. It does me well to see this many people gathered on the college campus who support freedom and liberty. It is sad that that's a statement that says something about the state of our educational institutions, or as I like to call, indoctrination camps. Today we are here voicing our opposition to a new type of segregation plaguing our nation and our college campuses. That segregation is medical segregation. The unvaccinated are subject to coercion by those who consider their institutional authority to be above the long-standing American values of privacy and individualism. I'm not anti-vaccine, and I'm not saying don't get the jab. That would make me no better than those confused and thinking they have the authority to enforce medical decisions upon private citizens. This country does not stand for enforcing medical concoctions upon those who stand against the use of unborn souls as an ingredient for those potions. This country does not stand for blackmail as a tool to have you do their bidding, threatening you with furlough if you do not bend the knee and get the jab. This country does not stand for authoritarian policies that are in no way compatible with American values.
And as its countrymen, we are obligated and have the right to choose what we put in our bodies. Amen.
Amen.
These tyrants seek to enforce a decision upon you with which there is no going back. Once you are jabbed, you're jabbed for life. There is nothing they will allow you to do, even if you could have subsequent medical complications given your special status, regardless of what your private doctor has said. Vaccines are supposed to be immunization, but from what I've seen across the country, people with multiple doses of the vaccine still struggle to achieve immunity. The vaccine is more comparable to Tylenol than a vaccine due to its inability to prevent the problem, but instead mildly treats it. On federal, state, and local levels, the vaccine mandates are being struck down as unconstitutional. And if you ask me, it's about damn time. It's about damn time the courts started stepping up, standing up for the documents they are meant to preserve. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this country. God bless the Constitution. God bless our troops. And God bless America.
What's going on, everybody? I'm back up here. In the context of this mandate, let me start by mentioning the nation that was envisioned by our founding fathers. Our founding fathers fought a war against a tyrannical foreign occupational force that was seemingly undefeatable. They fought this war to usher in the dawn of a nation of free people. We as Americans are free people. This incontrovertible fact is being ignored by university administration with respect to the vaccine and the measures being placed on employees. Coercive measures being deployed to boost community vaccination numbers make employees of this institution, in my opinion, anything but free. But let's see what you guys think. I got a question for you. Are free people subjected to flagrant medical mandates for injections they don't approve of? No. I got another question for you. Are free people threatened with having their livelihood taken from them or be placed on leave because they refuse to forfeit the right to choose what goes in their own bodies? No! I didn't think so. What our university has done to mandate this vaccine steps on the rights of every Penn State employee. Conditions for employment such as these violate the medical principle of informed consent. The vaccine does not even guarantee immunity from COVID, and it does not guarantee a lesser case. But regardless of the science surrounding the vaccine, raising vaccination rates should not be done through coercion or threats of being placed on leave. Our university has deemed all employees who are unvaccinated as threats to the community and postulated that the unvaccinated have no place within this community. This is why I urge our administration to let people choose and to respect individuals and their employees.
People choose. Let people choose. Let people choose.
Representative Stephanie Borowitz.
No.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm not used to this thing. This is pretty incredible, isn't it? Standing up for liberty and freedom. A government of, for, and by the people, right? That's not what we have right now. We have an administration at the federal level and the state level and our governor, which we need to change that, which I have a great person coming up next to speak. That could probably take that job. But we have an administration that disregards our freedom and our liberties. We're not anti-vax and anti-mask, we're anti-force. We're tired of it. You know, the news media tries to portray you as some crazy person. Oh, you're anti-vax, anti-mask. We are anti-force of a government telling us what to do with our bodies, what we
So stand up. Okay, I gotta point this at you. I think with all my training in gun, I don't point anything at anybody. So, we are at a crossroads in this nation, and I'm proud to stand alongside each one of you guys as we stand as patriots of liberty and freedom. Just think of that. That God appointed each one of us to stand right now, in this time, to be a light at the Penn State campus. Did you ever think that? How awesome of an opportunity. So don't see this in the negative light of the darkness that they're trying to bring upon us. Think of us as all lights in that darkness. That we can be a light in the dark world that we're standing in. As President Trump said, we do not rely and trust in government, we trust in God in this nation. Senator Mastriano had a medical freedom rally on Monday, and after that rally at the Capitol on Monday, a Democrat was interviewed, and she actually said these words. She said, the unvaxxed, they can stay on their private property, but they cannot go out in society. Can you believe that we would hear words? And yet here we are. Unbelievable to even hear those words come out of someone's mouth. Do they not know history? Do they not know where we stand and what happened in our past and history? The ignorance of those that do not know history and where we stand as Americans right now. So I have the honor, the distinct honor this morning to introduce Senator Mastriano. He's going to try to make his way up here. He's a fighter, he's a colonel in the Army, but he's also a colonel in the Army of God. Him and Rebby, because they go together. I love them, I trust them, they're good friends of mine, and I am honored to introduce this afternoon, Senator Mastriano.
Oh yeah, any God-fearing, patriotic Americans in the house here? God is good. What a great day. This is really the day the Lord has made, right? Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm just so thankful everybody here. Thank you for your love and support. But what a dark time we've gone through the past year and a half. Can you believe in America we have to push legislation in the Senate of Pennsylvania to let parents choose whether the kids mask up or not? Can you believe that I have to move legislation here to protect your medical freedom? I mean, whatever happened to my body, my choice? The left, when they come out with their mantra for decades, my body, my choice, it sounds very cliche, it flows, but that's somebody else's body in abortion. When it really is just your body, they say, oh, nope, you gotta do this. Otherwise, you know, you're a super spreader. I mean, really. I'm going to quote from Joe Biden. Come on, man. Really? You know, like it's this bad scene from Star Trek, you know, beam me up, Scotty. There's no sign of intelligent life anywhere. Really. Especially because the science of, you know, and the media, I'm so glad you're here. Please give us a fair shake. This is fair, honest reporting. The science and the facts don't match up. You know, we were told constantly by Levine. Anyone miss Secretary Levine? Follow the science, Levine. I was always like, after you. Whatever happened to science and, you know, germ theory? Louis Pasteur in the 1870s came up with germ theory and understanding germs and bacteria, what have you. And since then, we knew it'd be a bad idea to send the sick amongst the most vulnerable. Levine thought it was a good idea in 19 March of last year to take the sick out of the hospitals and send them into the homes, unleashing the plague where 16,000 died. You know, facts are stubborn things, but only a Democrat administration enabled by a media would get away with murder. Yeah, get away with it. And get promoted instead to the second highest, most important health position in the United States. Now an admiral. What? For doing what? You know, I grew up in the Army. I spent most of my 20s, all my 30s, all of my 40s, and part of my 50s in uniform. And, you know, you have to deliver results and get promoted. That's a fact. And what did exactly did Levine do to warrant these promotions? And this is a bizarre time. And so we have to stand together. I get it. This is tough. You know, we've been at several medical freedom rallies over the past couple weeks here. This is no joke. I mean, we had a couple pilots, husband and wife team, flying for a major airline. They had a law case against that airline, and they found out that day that the judge kicked it out. They didn't want to hear it. So they're at the cusp of losing their financial well-being, their stability, predictability. Same with many of you here. Some of you on campus here are facing a lot of bullying and threats and intimidation. In this country here, on this university campus, you should be able to walk as free people. University, even the word says it all. It's all about diversity of thought, right? What happened to that now? Now, if you don't, obey and conform, you're going to be squashed, maybe even get a bad grade from a professor, who claims to be tolerant, except people that disagree with them politically. And suddenly, anyone that starts screaming tolerance, and that you're a bigot and intolerant, that makes them logically a bigot and intolerant person. That they can't even see this here. It's a strange time we live in. The same people 2 years ago that were on the cause of stopping bullying now have become the bullies. If you don't stay home, stay calm, and stay safe, you're some kind of renegade. You guys remember, many of you were at the rallies with me in Harrisburg this past year and a half, and it was an interesting time because I first off learned math from the liberal media. If I had thousands, they'd say hundreds. If I had hundreds, they'd say dozens. But it's always the opposite for their group, right? You'll see a dozen, they'll say hundreds showed up to a rally. Like, wait, I was there, I saw 15. Really? But also, I love the coverage of these events. It started off with the Reopen PA with Matt Bellis, and then we took it over the Freedom Rallies, based off of John 8:36, Bill 8:36. If Jesus set you free, you're free indeed. It's all about freedom. Amen. It's all about you. Now, you how to live your life, not how some bureaucrat or governor or school official thinks you should live your life. This is America. This is Pennsylvania. Not that hard. That I have to, as somebody who served 30 years in uniform, can I see the hands of other veterans out here? Put your hands up, please. Give it up for my brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, you were sent to the 7 seas of 4 corners of Europe, in God-forsaken places, in the mountains of Afghanistan, the deserts of Kandahar, out in Iraq. You can pick a place, the Philippines, jungles, chasing terrorists here and there across Africa, and to keep our freedoms secure and our way of life secure as well. And now our very freedoms here have been swept away. It all started with 2 weeks of flatten the curve. 2 weeks, we promise you. And then, of course, Governor Wolf started moving the goalposts. Well, we have to do this. Well, we need just another emergency order. And I get it. I know I have a lot of issues with how our elections are run in Pennsylvania, and the corruption's always been there. It's gotten worse. So anyone that wants to stand aside and say, I'm not going to vote anymore, my vote doesn't count, come on, that's part of the problem. That's exactly what the other side wants you to do, stay home. Because I know Governor Wolf moved heaven and earth to try to win, try to beat us back with suspending his emergency powers. Remember that in May? Questions 1 and 2. Did you even know what you're voting on if you read that? I'm reading those questions there to strip him of his powers that he's abused over the past year and a half. And I'm like, I don't know how we're going to pull this off. But we got together, we spread the word, and we won. We're the first state in the nation to strip him. I could not be more proud of my people. Thank you, Michelle. You're awesome. But, we won because we did it together. We stood together. As Benjamin Franklin said in 1776 in Philadelphia, so much legacy here in Pennsylvania freedom. Franklin said, if we don't hang together, we'll hang separately. We stood together in May and we stripped the governor of his edicts and powers. You saw how petulant he was the next day, as well as his acting Secretary of Health recently, Secretary Beam. That's why the judges in Commonwealth Court said, no, this is not constitutional, these mass edicts in schools, because he did not do it underneath the guise of an emergency power. And what power other than an edict? Last I checked, we don't have a king in Pennsylvania. Facts. Facts is number 2. So edict, it can only last for 3 weeks because we, the people, said, no governor, no more power more than 3 weeks. So he didn't even bother. Just issued an edict, and the courts are catching up to us here. But see, that's the thing. We have to persevere. It tells us in Galatians, grow not weary doing good. I get it. It's tough. It's been a long fight, and I've taken my punches and bruises as well. I get it. After a while, it's like, this is a long fight. Grow not weary doing good. Why? Because in due time you reap your harvest. So we have to stay the course. We have to persevere. For the beautiful young people here in this generation, and also for the generation behind them, it's our duty to maintain freedom and liberty in our country. It's not, as Ronald Reagan told us here, liberty is not passed on, through your genes. It has to be maintained and sustained by each generation. We have a tough fight on our hands. I got it. I know it's a long fight here. We've had darker times in American history. We had to put it in context here. Thank God we're not, fighting on two fronts like in World War II. We're facing the trenches in World War I, or the bloody battlefields of Gettysburg, and et cetera. Thank God we don't have that. We're going to do this peacefully, but we have to do it resolutely, and it's going to take time. As we've seen, it's taken a lot longer than I had hoped, but each election we're seeing more and more hope. So as each election season comes around, look what happened just a week and a half ago in Virginia, huh? We can do it. They have issues down there too with their voting, but still we, the people, got out. And it was a clean sweep. I was so excited about that. I think we won Jersey too, but we can talk about that later. Yeah, I'm pretty sure about that. But even that truck driver, finally the speaker, the president pro tem of the Senate, offered the truck driver to spend $153. It's possible. We can do it. Yeah, so, okay. What's the so what? There's hope. There's hope. If we stand together, resolutely together, we can roll back. If you stand together in the face of mandates from the school and from the state here, we'll win. There's only so much that the left can persevere in. There's only so much a business can sustain without workers or employees or customers coming in. Students, you're the customers of this university here. They need you. And if you stand together, it's time to organize, it's time to unionize. Remember the unions in the 20s and 30s when industry was terrible and not taking care of the workers got together. It wasn't easy. My grandpa Mastriano is part of that in New York City, the Gerber company, and he was threatened, shot at, and what have you. But they unionized, and then they were able to have safer working conditions. And over here, it's similar. Now it's time to unionize and stand together. The left and the school and the state are going to try to divide and conquer, like Julius Caesar in Gaul, right? Divide and conquer, divide, right? Divide. But if you stand together, there's force in numbers, there's power in numbers. That's exactly where the government derives its power, right? From the consent of who? People. You are the people. So we together will stand resolutely together. You know you got a voice in Harrisburg, and Stephanie Borowitz there, she's a hero. Our introduction to her was online, probably with many of you as well, watching her prayer on the house floor there. That was fantastic. Jesus 13 times. She's not a coward. She's brave and courageous. God is looking for people like you and me, though. And don't think you can't make a difference. As I wrap it up here, before we get kicked off, right? As I wrap it up, you think about the bloody day of 2nd July, 1863 at Gettysburg. It looked like we were going to lose. Robert E. Lee, like King Midas, every battle he approached, he usually won. And he had a good plan on day 2. Standing in his way, though, was a colonel from Maine. But what you don't realize, this colonel, before he was, very decorated and famous and 4-term governor of Maine later on, he had a severe stuttering problem. Most of his life, he was considered a fool. He was laughed at. He was a severe introvert. God eventually healed him of a stuttering problem here. But God used somebody in the eyes of the world that was viewed as weak. It says in 1 Corinthians 1:27, God uses who? The weak to confound the strong, right? And the foolish to confound the wise. So God's looking for men and women just like you and me. Just like Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. And together, I believe, we will preserve this nation here and pass on this nation better off than how we have it now. Stay strong, stay blessed, and stay encouraged. God bless you all.
gathered here today, I'm going to ask you some more questions like I did in the speech before. Are you tired of them telling you what to put in your body?
Yes!
The response is we are, and I'm going for it. That's okay. Are you tired of feeling unappreciated for your hard work?
Yeah!
Are you tired of having them judge you for your religious sincerity?
We are!
Are you tired of laws being replaced by mandates?
We are!
Are you ready to fight for your God-given right to medical freedom?
We are!
Are you ready to live as free people?
We are!
Now, let them hear us in this building very loudly who we are and what we are here for. I understand we have the Lions for Liberty here today. Yeah. Woo! Who are we? Lions for Liberty! Who are we? Lions for Liberty! Who are we? Lions for Liberty! Awesome. We have this space until 1 o'clock. Hang out.
It's a hard fight. But they even said that they think it's weird. Do you want to get your girls to come meet them? Come on. Grab your shirt. Oh, meet me there.
Hey guys, we're going to organize a group photo here. If everyone can hold their signs high and proudly. And everyone on social media.
Oh, that was fine. That was fine.
Mind if Cobra and Simpson got rid of sign up like
Let me get some.
Sign holders!
Everyone, if we can face the lawn and angle ourselves towards the building, provide a fantastic background.
Oh, good. Yeah. Lions walk not in sheep freedom.
Hey, take one over here.
Rick, how's it going?
Some little kid. That's amazing.
This was written by Joe Biden. She said it's a little kid. I said,
Freedom.
I'd love to get it. Where is it?
Let people choose! Let people choose! Let people choose!
Let people choose! I'm right there.
God bless you guys. Thanks for coming out. Let people choose! Let people choose!
No. Keep the Brandons down.
Did you see the sign? You see the sign?
Yeah.
There it is. There it is.
I saw you.
Yes,